Okay, it's going to be different. Never had an interview with, oh yeah, I had an interview with Abel LeBlanc, but we're going to do something different here, and then we're going to see how it goes. How you making out?
Well, I'm not bad. The day after the budget.
What's your name?
Oh, it's Tom Mann, Executive Director of the New Brunswick Union.
Listen, Tom, before we start, I had an email when I was told that there was going to be an interview. I'm going to have an interview with you. Somebody sent me an email and told me that you were doing a great job as a labor union. The person as a labor leader. The person said that she trained you well. You want to know who that person is?
Well, I'm kind of curious.
Dorothy Dawson.
Ah, Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy. Yeah, Dorothy and I go back a long way.
She said she trained you well.
Yes, she was on the negotiating teams back in the 80s at the Nurses Union. And Dorothy and I actually discovered that we went back even further than that. She spent time in my hometown of Bathurst. And she knew of my father in Bathurst, and she had mutual friends there as well. Yes. I have a lot of time for Dorothy.
Dorothy is the one that politicians should thank. She's the one responsible for bringing me here in the capital.
Oh, is that right?
Or she drove me here, and she bought the tent. I remember when I was staying for the ledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is one activist, huh? She's.
Well, you know, I always thought that, and I've said this to Dorothy many times, that she was ahead of her time. She was. Far out in front of the New Brunswick Nurses Union membership back in the 80s and the early 90s. And I appreciate and I have mentioned her as one of my mentors.
What keeps her going?
I think she has a real passion for people and passion for social justice. And I can remember one of the times that I met her after I left the Nurses Union to come work here. We were at a summit, a G8 summit in Quebec City back in 2000 or 2001, and you know, thousands of people, and it was warm. It was in late April, but it was a hot day in late April, and I was on a table giving out water, and this woman came up to me wearing a helmet from World War I.
Really?
And it was Dorothy. And because in her mind, you know, that particular summit was about opening up the free trade agreement that was between America, Canada, and Mexico, and wanting to extend it to Central America and South America. And Dorothy believed that this was akin to going to war, you know, to protect the quality of life and the level of services that we have here in this country. I mean, she knew what it would have meant.
I would like to have people like her and Abel LeBlanc put them in a time machine and go back 40 years. I mean, they don't make activists like these, especially Dorothy.
No, that's true. There are a few good people here in New Brunswick, but you know what's happened in New Brunswick, and it's happened all across Canada and across the world for that matter, is that about 30 years ago, a woman named Margaret Thatcher got elected to be Prime Minister of Britain. And in one of her speeches, she said to the Brits, "You just worry about yourself and your family, and we'll let other people take care of everything else." Well, she was speaking to the free market, taking care of everything else. And guess what happened? Now, we just had a crisis. Yeah. We're in the middle of a crisis because the free market got greedy and it's collapsed, and guess who's paying the price for it now? And what happened from that, people took it to heart, and you know, the word self-sufficiency started being used. You know, Sean Graham isn't the guy who came up with self-sufficiency. You go back 15 years into Frank McKenna's speeches, and you go back into even the mission statements of the government, they start talking about self-sufficiency. Get off the pot. What are they doing? Smoking bad dope? Self-sufficiency. You know, there's a role for government, and that role is, you know, they have a moral mission to protect the population from collective risks. You know, and so anyway, what's happened is you can just see there's fewer people voting now. Why aren't they voting? Because Margaret Thatcher said, hey, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. Thank you very much.
I just want to give this little tape to Dorothy. I didn't know we're going to have a little debate. Okay, this is part one.